Every psychological study will show that if you don't give some type of direction for kids in this culture where what is our biggest moral thing that we offer up on a pedestal, and that is freedom of choice. You're free to decide. You give that type of moral pedestal to a 2-year-old child, good luck with that child not growing in a serious anxiety disorder. You have to indoctrinate children, however your household is. If you think a certain way leads to the truth, leads to a flourishing life. Oddly enough, Harvard in 2021 came out with a study showing that if you take your children to church every single Sunday, in their 20s, there's a much greater percentage chance that they will be happier and live a better life. So take that for indoctrination when it comes to, oh, don't take your kids to church because that's really indoctrinating them. Be a free thinker. Help them to be a free thinker when they're 2 years old and allow them just to do whatever they want.
You gotta love how Cliff Jr. likes to manipulate the information. You see, what he didn't tell you about that Harvard study is that this study had its limitations. That the overwhelming majority of the people who were involved in the study were young, white females who came from relative high socioeconomic families, and that it does not represent a generalized broader population. Now, they did think that if it was if it was the black families, that they would have been even larger versus the whites. And that was in the Van Will suggested on the effects of religious service attended by adults, and that was concerning adults. Now, another limitation is that it didn't look at influences from parents and peers and adolescents for their religious decisions. And it didn't also look at, or rather, he didn't speak on the fact that it's just not going to church, but it was other general spiritual types of activities that these children were participating in. That some of them did it in churches, some of them it was private spiritual practices, and that it all wasn't Christian spiritual practices, that these were people who also participated in other spiritual practices beyond just the Christian church. But the study is very flawed because it doesn't look at the impact of people going to mosque, people going to temple. It only is mainly focused on the fact that people were going, that they were using white females in America who were going to Christian churches and looking at their rate of becoming drug addicts and alcoholics and things of that nature. It didn't look at any type of other type of trauma that could have come from these people going to church, just different levels of anxiety. And the percentage was only up to about an 18% difference. So it's not like it made this huge, massive difference in these children's lives. And another thing they didn't look at was children who grew up in atheist homes and how those children were able to be well adjusted in society. So there's no comparison, no peer review to it of children who grew up atheists, because then you would have to look at the other influences within the household and the other teachings within the household. Because I will contend that kids who grow up in any type of environment, it is all relative to what the parents are putting into them. You don't have to have a religious background or attend religious services if you're surrounded by good parents, good peers, good teachers. If you're surrounded by people who are on the side of not doing drugs, not getting pregnant, not having sex, not doing whatever that is found to be negative towards your psyche, that kid is going to grow up more well adjusted, and that it doesn't really matter so much as to which religion you're talking about, because in every religion there are things that are taught, that they teach for you to be a good person. There are some good moral teachings in all of them, like don't steal, don't kill, don't mess with another person's property. There are many things that are of that nature in every religion. So Christianity is not special in this way. But the way he tried to frame the situation was either you go to church or you're telling kids that they can just go do whatever they want to do from the age of 2. And parents who do not go to church, parents who are not religious at all, they are not telling their children to go do whatever they want to do from the age of 2. Even the most piss poor punk parents that I've seen do not just give a free willy-nilly do whatever you want to their children. They give them a lot more room than I would give them, but they don't just give them the carte blanche. So that whole study is lacking with a lot of holes in it, and his argument is definitely lacking because it only has two options, but there are many options within the process. This is why you have to pay attention, but this is also why he goes and he talks to college kids and he doesn't talk to adults who have studied and lived life. But y'all have a great day, and always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.